So I spent the last few weeks observing hotels on social media, and what I found is that most hotels are just plainly just invisible. And to be honest, most of them just rely on influencer travelers or travel agencies to promote themselves. They don't rely on their own organic content. So in this video, I want to break down what's wrong with that approach, the actual formats and videos that are actually working right now, and how any hotel, budget or luxury can actually build a strong online presence. So most hotels actually don't post or post once a week or so. And when they do so, it feels like very corporate and it gets zero engagement. Their posts are nothing to be excited about. They treat their Instagram or TikTok like a digital brochure. And of course, we all know people don't like to be sold to on social media. Most people are just there to be entertained, informed, or emotionally invested in something. And for that to happen, you need to appeal to their emotions in a way that people can feel it. That's what I always like to say. I want you to make you feel it. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Mario and I've been making videos for a very long time, and more specifically short form content video for businesses. For the last 4 years, I've been posting every single day. On this channel, I just want to share what I practice and what I'm learning from social media. Now let's start with what's actually working. There are 3 types of fundamental content types of formats that work pretty well. Number 1 is the hotel tours. POV tours actually sometimes work. It's just what it sounds like. It's nothing cinematic. It's just grabbing your camera, walking around a room and actually showing the surroundings. This kind of works because it hits the person who is like scrolling through with an impact shock of changing from a dynamic and very highly stimulated content to perhaps something very relaxing, completely off the grid, and it kind of like an engaging environment in the sense that it's kind of relaxing. So it's taking you away from your actual scroll to like, boom, it makes you stop there for a second. It makes you feel something. So if that is included with some ASMR, some environmental sound there, some birds chirping and stuff like that, tends to work. But the key is that it has to look like a video that a friend sent to you, not like a hotel super camera brochure type of like high quality image, because that's gonna like immediately get your senses thinking like, okay, this is an ad. It can send you off in the wrong direction of thinking like, okay, I'm not there. I had to work tomorrow, so I'm not ready to get emotionally invested on whatever this is. So it's not gonna grab their people's attention. Now, there's 2 types of hotel tours that actually work. One is just what I said, just POV and just walking around the hotel and showing different places. That can actually work with the environmental sound, ASMR. The other one is where you're actually following someone actually behind and somebody's just walking in front. And I see very types of videos of creators doing this in different ways. Some people just do it in a funny way where there's somebody pointing at things kind of comedically, kind of like a cartoon kind of vibe. If you match it with like Super Mario, for example, music, or some kind of like cute Japanese sounds and stuff, tends to work, probably doesn't go to the right audience. It has to match whatever kind of vibe you're wanting to paint for that specific experience of a hotel, but it tends to work. Now, the other one, it's a more traditional tour of like, here's the lobby, here's a swimming pool, stuff like that. Now that, in my opinion, is where the money is, because if you can perform a good walk and talk video where you're just presenting to the camera the different places and you kind of do it in a fun way where you can like switch locations or switch camera angles and have different props coming in and out of the frame, and probably there's some different guests or staff involved in the video, that can actually work with a good script. That can actually work to have a lot of engagement online, because it kind of feels like one of those movies where there's a lot of walk and talk, and the hotel room experience is going to be a lot more engaging that way. Now, of course, that's the type of video that's going to be the hardest one to do, because it needs a good script and it needs a good person to perform it. You need a good talker. You don't have to do the script while you're actually walking and talking. What most people do is actually they record the voiceover kind of like this, and then they lip sync it on top as they're acting out that set scene. Now, another type of content that is actually working is the informative or educational type. We'll call it that, but it's mostly just B-roll with text on image. And what's really cool about this is that it can actually come from the guests in the hotel. If I was a hotel, I would inquire guests to take videos of their experience in the hotel, and perhaps they give them something like a coupon or a discount or a free service of the laundry or whatever it is, just by posting or sending the videos to the reception or something like that. That could be a really good strategy to generate UGC videos, but from the actual people who experience the hotel. Now, of course, if you're a hotel and you're not having guests are not having good experiences, that can actually play against you. But in most cases where I go to hotels, people are having a good time. And if they're posting that to the reception or management, they can actually utilize those videos and capture the moments and essence that people are actually living out there. And you don't need to show their face or something. It could just be POV of what you see on your normal holiday. For example, I'd say there's a really good video here of this guy who's just having a coffee, chilling out in the morning, and there's this parrot that comes, and it's like the text on image is something as simple as when you're on holiday and you start asking parrots about your life decisions. So, which is something that people can relate to, because like we've all been on holiday, we kind of like, we think that we are now connecting to the wild nature just because we're away from our office. The third type of content that I see that is actually working is entertaining and trend based. And the trends based, when they are actually using the staff of the hotel or actual tourists, like I was mentioning before, this tends to perform really well. And it's very easy to do. I would encourage businesses and hotels to do this one first, because it's the lowest level of effort and knowledge that you need to have to actually perform something good on social. So what does this actually look like? So it could be your typical video of expectations versus reality, or something like preparing to go to work or preparing to go to holiday. Waking up to go to work, waking up to go on holiday. So all those types of like short skits perform really well on TikTok. And the only thing you need to search for is like, what are the trends that are actually working on TikTok right now? And you can take from other niches, or people who are doing coaching, or people who are doing like teaching of some kind, and just apply those to your niche. Now, what's good about this content is that number one, it has already been proven, so it has gone viral before. So it means that there's some potential there for people to engage with it, and not everybody has always seen it. Number two is that it's easier to do for the hotel staff or whoever is your video team. And number three is that sometimes it's evergreen. You can just repeat the same content 2 months, 3 months, 6 months down the line. It could still perform well. Now, I personally wouldn't recommend that. Not everybody likes to do the same video, but if it works and if you're tight on time or whatever, you might as well just repeat a similar type of content. Now, I say that and most people are like, oh, how could you give that type of advice? Well, I give that type of advice because I work with people who are real businesses and don't have all the, Hormozy level resources to bake fresh cookies every day. So if you don't have that level of team and resources and knowledge, and you're not going to be able to pop out a new cake every day, you might as well just, do something easier multiple times that could give you some benefit, rather than don't post that much. Because when it comes to businesses like hotels and services and products, it's not your personal page. It's a business. So you want to be out there. You want to be relevant. You want to be exposed. You want to connect. Now, the more good content and quality of connection, originality that you can have, awesome. But all I'm saying is, those things take expertise and a really good team and a really good strategist. And most hotels are not going to go the extra mile to hire someone to develop a crazy strategy to go completely off the grid and come up with like something crazy creative. So I talked about the 3 types of content that actually are working, and any hotel can do those. And number 1, again, is tours. Number 2 is showing something informative or shocking visually, but actually following the trend with like text on image that actually matters. And then number 3 is the trends that you can perform with either tourists or either the staff of the hotel. My theory of going off the grid and going off script and trying things like IRL, interviews, and so on What I would love to see hotels do is be brave enough that they can actually take the advantage of it and like, okay, let's just do completely chaos. I like to give my thoughts on like what could be actually a crazy strategy that people could take that. So this is what I would like to call the bonus category, an experimental category, if you will. This is when you go all in on types of contents like IRL, interviews, challenges, or just scripted chaos and just mess around with it until something hits. You can also think of this as the absurd, what actually doesn't make sense but kind of like resonates with people. Let's just do, for example, like a murdering sort of series that happens throughout the hotel. Something that keeps people like visually like stuck to the screen. We're like, oh my God, he took his blah, 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 and he did this and then he died. Like maybe you're like following people around the hotel and it kind of looks like a serial killer type of TV show, something like that. That's something that is actually going on right now on social media with this comedian. He's got a TV show type level of content embedded into like very random, mundane sort of rants that he does. And if a hotel did something like that, where there's something going on in the background that you can clearly see, or you can obscurely see a little bit of it while they're pitching to you their services or their benefits, their features of the hotel, that would strike up so well, in my opinion, because people are going to be talking, they're going to be engaging with like what's going on in the background, what's weird about this. Now, of course, this gets a little bit more creative. You got to be a little bit more specific here with props, with actors, with the script. But in my opinion, that would be sending a really good, memorable moment on people when they're watching the feed. If you're a hotel, if you're a manager, and if you want to focus on content, please do like very native, kind of something that people would actually live and experience while visiting that hotel. You don't need to paint the perfect picture of your services, because people are interested in seeing things for what they really are. You already have the picture perfect platform on Trip.com, on Agoda, where people actually go to book their hotels. People don't go to TikTok to book hotels, at least not today. And what you're encouraging then is not so much that they're gonna book your hotel for the first time, is that they're gonna come again the next time if they find out that you're fun, that you have a social media presence, and make a connection, make it relatable to the people who stay there. That's it. I'm Mario, and good luck.